look at this.
Hello, I know.
Bright orange here.
And I'm trying to dress the colors. Today is the tournament game for the Central.
Yeah, but it's so late at night.
5 o'clock.
Well, I was told it was at 8:30 under
No.
the lights.
5 o'clock. 5 o'clock.
Oh.
I don't know who. Yeah, no, it's 5 o'clock.
Well, I thought they were going to do some kind of
Unless they
celebration for the seniors and
they
all
did that last week. I mean, they did that.
And
at
they
the
said
last
that
game.
the game was at 8:30 under the lights.
No, not for us. I mean, right? No, I got texts and everything.
You better set me straight because 8:30 is my milk and cookie time, and I'm not going to go to a soccer game and sit under the lights at 8:30.
No, it's I'll double check it before we leave.
Yes. Oh, good. That's much better because I'll be there at 5 o'clock.
We don't want to interrupt milk and cookie.
No, folks. Old people have to have their milk and cookies in between 8:30 and 9.
You're not going. That's funny. Okay.
But tell us about where you were.
So last week we didn't do this last week because I was on a trip, and the trip that we went to is that we went to. My sister-in-law has been into the ancestry stuff.
Okay, here we go.
And so, well, anyway, she found she found different things and stuff, and was able to join the DAR and stuff because you have to find.
Right, you have to. Yes, you got to trace yourself back. Daughters of the American Revolution. My
husband's father, his biological parents, he was adopted by relatives here in Lunenburg.
Your husband?
My husband's father.
Oh, your husband's father. Okay. Your husband's father. So
his father
was adopted by a family here.
Well, it's relatives. Because it's hard to explain, but let me see if I can put this. Yes. You really need a chart. Yes. So, my father-in-law, his mother was from Lunenburg,
and their family was here.
Yeah, and grew up here and everything. So, and his mother had brothers and sisters and all. Okay. Well, she met a man from Kentucky.
Okay.
So they married, which there's still a piece of that puzzle we're trying to figure out. Okay. Well, anyway, she fell ill in California, and then the father, I guess, was not able to take care of the boys. So they shipped the 2 boys back here to Lunenburg
to live with aunts and uncles.
So aunts and uncles divided the kids up. So one brother was raised in Richmond by one of her brothers.
Okay.
And then the other one, which is my husband's father, was raised by another set of uncles. Okay. So anyway, so he's adopted, but it was adopted by aunts and uncles.
By relatives.
Relatives.
All in the family.
So anyway, in doing the research and everything, she found the grave and everything of the father, because he was living out in California, but when he died, he came back and they buried him in Kentucky.
Okay. So where he was originally from?
Well, originally they came in. Originally they came in from Canada.
Okay.
But his mother was originally from Kentucky.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, because so anyway, we went out, and so find a grave is really interesting because it'll tell you like where the grave is and everything, and show you the picture of it. Well, it showed that it was in this area of Kentucky, so we went out. And the first day on the way out and everything, we stopped at Pigeon Forge in Gatlinburg. Never been there.
Nice area.
Gatlinburg, never been there. It was very interesting. Yeah. So. Spent that day there. Then we got up and drove on up to Kentucky. Well, you're still in the mountains in the country and everything and stuff, and going, okay. Yep. I thought I could hear Deliverance playing. Wasn't quite sure. I don't know if you ever watched the show Justified.
Oh, I love Justified.
We kept looking for Boyd Crowder. Yeah, we kept looking for Boyd Crowder.
Great show. There's always somebody who gets shot at the end.
And you never leave Harlan alive. So anyway, I was expecting a few things, So anyway, the Find a Grave gives you these coordinates or tells you, yes, it is right over the county line, and here it is. So we're driving by, was farmland. And what I had read online was, because she had told me it was like private land or whatever, but yet it was the family grave So I was like, okay, and so you're thinking, you're not sure what you're going to meet. So anyway, we passed it, and she was like, no, you got to turn around. So her husband turns around, and so we're all looking out in these fields and stuff, and just trying to. And finally, she sees some graves set up next to, set up back, and it was near a wooded area. She goes, that's got to be it. Well, of course, nothing. I mean, it didn't match the mailbox or anything. So we're sitting here looking at stuff, and so we pull up. Well, those people aren't home. So, and we all agreed it was not wise to get out on somebody's property, especially in Kentucky. And then go wandering around. But we felt sure. So anyway, we went down to this next house and we wanted it. So she went up there and she's real personable. So she went up there and the lady was like, yeah, my husband used to take care of it. And stuff. And she said, and he can't take care of it anymore. So she was like, I'll text them and let them know what's going on, but I'm sure they won't mind. And so sure enough, she walks us through, and we go through this little wooded area and stuff, and come out, and sure enough, we find the grave.
Oh, it gives me like chills. How exciting.
And there it is, just like on, and then we actually find my husband's sister's, trying to get this straight, great-grandparents' grave. I think it's the great-great-grandparents' grave. Because Dora, who would have been Thomas, is the one we found. It was her parents, because Dora actually was buried in California where she died.
Right.
So we not only found the husband, so of course knowing me, I'm like over there talking to the grave. Because I told him, I said, well, anything y'all want to say to him while you got him here? And they were like, yeah, they were looking at me, and I'm like, you got him right here.
And talk to it.
And so I was like, so I'm going over there, and I'm like, well, hey, my name's Karen. These are your grandkids, and they've come a long way. One came from Delaware, the other one's from Virginia. I said, well, let me catch you up on things. So I told him about about his son, and what happened, and and I knew he knew what happened to him, as far as like that goes, the son part. But I'm like, well, these are your two grandkids. They've grown up to be blah, blah, blah. So I'm sitting here talking. I said, Bubba, I said, I'm over here. I said, I'm been talking to your granddad. He said, I hear you over there talking to yourself. I'm like, I said, I figure if I put out the word, somebody's going to hear it, right?
It's out there. He knows what's going on.
And I'm like, you came this far. You're just going to look at it and take a picture? I'm like, no, we're going to talk to it.
Yes, right.
So, people do it all the time.
That's right. That's right.
So anyway, I'm telling about grandkids, great-grandkids, and I'm like, this is, so everybody else is like, not staying, they're just kind of staying away from me. But I figure
she's been in the car too long.
We've come this far. We might as well explain to the man, that he's got all these grandkids and great grandkids now, because I think, because one of Linda's has just had a child, so now he's got grandkids and great grandkids.
Yeah, I mean, look at the chapel
and great grandkids. Yeah, because it would have Bubba would have been Thomas's grandchild. Mm-hmm. And then so now, and then Linda, Linda's got so he's got great grandchildren and great.
Yeah. Wow.
So, hey, I figured, so and I'm just sitting, I'm like, okay, well, there we go. So, so we got to spend time doing that. So then we went over and we found the other cemetery and got to find people back from like the 1800s. I mean, it was really back. But it was interesting for me to be on the journey because, to be able to locate some of the stuff, the genealogy of it all. And, I don't know if it brought any kind of peace or closure or whatever, but, you do wonder, people do wonder, especially as you get older, you wonder about your relatives. You wonder about certain things and stuff. And, just the hard lives and stuff they live. But we're still trying, like I said, trying to put pieces together, because how a girl from Lunenburg County went to school at Longwood, got her teaching degree, and then the last thing my sister-in-law can find is where she was living in a boarding house. I think it was Roanoke. And then
so she's moving your way.
But I mean, after that, we lost her until she's married and somehow wound up in Metcalfe County, Kentucky. I mean, it's not like, because and I say all this because it wasn't like it is these days. You didn't travel a lot back then. There wasn't a lot of money.
Right.
And not everybody had a vehicle.
Yep.
So, just trying to piece together so
she went where she was needed to teach,
and how she got over, but we can't find records between Roanoke and how she got there. So it's just interesting. But so now, Linda was trying to figure out how they got down from Canada. And in the meantime, while she was coming back and everything, she was looking up more stuff on the genealogy, and she actually found a record to where I guess it would have been like great, 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 great of them came down on a boat from Canada and down to California.
Of course, you just think about some of that might have been during the gold rush time too.
It could be.
Yeah,
I mean,
to bring them. And the other thing that was really big was like the fur trading and all of that. So you had quite a that's interesting.
But it is interesting to me as far as that goes. And then, in one of the documents that she showed that she had found is when one of them had come over or when they got here from Canada, and wanted to get their citizenship, they had to say they were like abolishing their allegiance to Queen Victoria,
right,
and picking up an allegiance to the United States. And part of this I say because you and I have lately been talking about and I say it again, illegal aliens, illegal immigrants.
You mean undocumented?
Which again, the undocumented illegal immigrants. You're not here. I mean, these people did it the correct way.
They came down and they yes.
And so, I mean, that's why it means even a lot to me. Because back then, it probably even had to be harder too.
Oh my gosh!
They did it. They did it the ways that they should have, and so I mean, it means a lot. So, anyway, it was interesting. It was interesting.
That is, yes.
So, and tracing your roots and everything and stuff.
Did you take pictures? So
we did.
You got
we
the
took
dates
pictures.
And everything?
We've got the dates.
Because that'll be interesting to find
out
what brought them from Canada. What was happening here that brought them?
Unless it was relatives or something.
Or maybe,
because I mean, but how did they what made them decide to go to, like you said, what made them decide to go to California?
See, I'm wondering if it was during like the gold rush time and lots of people went hoping to get gold.
I want to say they were on British Columbia. So wouldn't that be on the eastern side? Yeah. So it looks like they would come down and come through New York.
Yeah.
But they came down and went to California instead. So they would have had to go down and around, and it would have taken them a while.
Yeah.
But and then the other interesting thing, while at Pigeon Forge, they have a really nice Titanic museum.
Really?
And it's not anybody that goes to Pigeon Forge, if you've ever seen the Titanic, know anything, this is a very classy, well done museum. And it's like you're in the boat and everything, but it takes you around, and it shows you. And when you first get there and stuff, they hand you these cards and everything, and you read up and like who you are.
So you're
a part of the people on the boat. Yeah, the only one of us that was not. There were four of us, so my sister and brother-in-law and my husband and myself. My husband, I'm sad to say, was not a first class passenger.
So he did not get to go on the boat.
Well, he was on the boat, but I mean, he was not in the first class section.
But he was on the Titanic. Did he make it off?
Well, let's see.
Probably not.
Yeah, his person did not make it off.
I was figuring, because if you weren't even in first class. Yeah.
It goes on to show you that, it goes on to tell you, and it was really a lot of good, interesting facts and stuff that they presented to us. And so if you ever go to Pigeon Forge, I do highly recommend that if you're interested in the Titanic at all and stuff, because it was like these Hollywood people that put it together and stuff, and it's just really well done.
They probably took a lot of the movie sets.
Well, supposedly, like where you go up the grand staircase and everything, that James Cameron had modeled it after that, but he actually had to widen it.
Really?
He had to make it larger, and it was for different, for various reasons. But they said that back then, that the average person was, I think the average woman was like 5'2" back in that day.
Oh, yeah.
And the man was like maybe 5'5" or so. I was like, see, my husband and I, we were average back then. We were good. Now they call us short. But also back in that time too, there was no processed foods.
Oh,
So everything
fresh.
was fresh, so people were thinner too.
Sure.
So, to accommodate height and size and many
Wow,
people and
now that's
everything.
kind of interesting. They had to make the set bigger.
So, you had to kind of accommodate, and I guess too, and for dramatic effect and anyway, it was just really interesting. But, and actually, they actually have this one part where you're looking out into the dark.
Oh, wow.
And the stars and everything, and you can like try to steer,
Yeah. And then bang, you hit
and then you go out, and then it takes you out onto the deck and everything. And I mean, you're actually frigid. And they have you put your hand in cold. I mean, it's really, it's
like,
very
was it
real.
like a video, did you have goggles on?
No, but you take this recorder around with you, and you get to, at various stops, you get to listen and get to hear. And it was just interesting to me that some of the people, it was fate that got them on board that ship. Like one girl.
Yes, or fate that kept you off.
Or kept you off, because there were some of the sailors or crew members that were drunk or something like the night before. They'd been out or whatever, and so they didn't make it onto the ship or something. They'd been out drinking too much. They did not make it on. And and it started off at this one location and went to a couple of stops.
Right.
And so this one father, and was he? I'm trying to remember which religion he was, but he was there, and he took pictures because he started on one and got off at a different one, but that was some of the only pictures they had of some of them.
Really?
Some of them, because everything else was kind of lost and stuff. But I mean, it was this voyage, and you know the story too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was supposed to be this unsinkable. And I mean, and to me, whenever you say something like that,
you can't be definitive about it.
No,
there's always something that can go wrong.
Yeah.
And it did, because
I mean,
and it was supposed to be like different cells on the ship that were supposed to be protected, but you hit something as big as an iceberg, and it just.
Yeah, I mean, yes. So I mean, it's one of those things. We as humans, we like to think we're invincible, but God has a way of showing us that we're not.
Thank you, because I think He always is looking out for us. He has a plan.
I mean, it's just like when they built the Tower of Babel. They were going to build it up there, but then He was like, okay, well, we're going to change your language. We're going to confuse everything. Hey, now make it work.
The temple was destroyed.
So, I mean, it's just
amazing.
But it is. It's amazing. And you hear stories all the time, like when something has happened, like when 9/11 happened. You hear incredible stories of people that, hey, they may have missed it by so long, or hey, wasn't supposed to, things that happen, and it's fate or destiny.
You just walked. I have a book for you to give to your son. Okay, and he might want to read it. But now you're talking about fate stuff. There's a book I'm reading right now called Harbinger.
Yes.
Oh, I can't wait to. I'm just getting into that, and I want
to read it after you.
Okay, yes.
We talked about this.
Oh my gosh! And I want to go back and read Isaiah, the section in Isaiah that predicts 9/11, because.
Is this our father? Which is it Cohen? What's his name?
Oh, I can't remember his name. I just got the yeah, it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
It might be Cohen.
Oh, Cohen. That's
Con.
it, Con. Because I listen to him. Do you listen to him?
I haven't listened to him, but I should. And so that's all these things. Even you're going back to find relatives, right? and finding your roots. And then you look at the Bible as a book of roots.
It is.
And we were talking to a gentleman yesterday at the Cambridge Tire when he was saying he reads the Bible. It's the best book you can ever read. And it is, and I'm finding, and so now I just started Harbinger last night. Just started, and then I got dopey and fell asleep. But I can't wait because he's got 3 books that he wrote. Harbinger's the first, and then the second one, and then there's the Mysteries of Harbinger or something like that. So yes, I will as soon as I'm
But
done.
well, think about I mean, I was thinking about all this while we were out there. Think about if nothing had changed in their lives. Bubba's grandfather, Thomas, and his wife, Dora, were living in California. Yeah, I got that right. No. James and Dora were living in California. But Thomas and Bessie, the one he met from Lindbergh, Thomas and Bessie had moved to California. They had the 2 boys out there. If nothing had changed in their lives, I wouldn't even be sitting here today.
I know. It's just
because one thing changes can alter an array of events.
Mm-hmm.
But because the mother fell ill, and the father couldn't do it, and and the boys got shipped back here. My husband was living here. He went into the military. Everything, and nothing may have been the same. His whole life could have been different.
Just by one
But my husband wouldn't even been here because he wouldn't have, Bob would not have met his mom.
Yeah.
I mean, I would not be sitting here today, most likely.
Right. Talking about family.
Yes, because everything would have been different. And my child, Chapel, would not be here.
I
mean, life would just be different.
And I spent some of Sunday afternoon with Chapel and your daughter-in-law. It was quite fun. She had a little temper.
She's a spunky one.
And I'm glad she does. Somebody's got to have spunk.
She's spunky.
She is, and it was fun.
And they both fight for the right. I mean,
yes, they do, and that's why she's spunky.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish I had that much spunk, but I have to bite my tongue and be observant.
Well, everybody's spunk comes out in a different way.
It will be.
And at the time that it's needed, so.
It will be there. Anyway, so.
But it's just interesting to me to look back at all this and.
So if we did a travel for my family, we'd have to go to Italy for some of it.
Works for me. Hey.
Go to Italy. I can go as far as my grandparents here because they all passed away here, and they're all in Watkins Glen, and all of the relatives are either, except for my aunt and uncle, are in California.
But like your parents, you said were first generation, correct?
I'm first generation on my father's side, and my mom was first generation because my mom was born here, but my dad was born there.
But your mom was Italian.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And my uncle and my cousin have gone over and found the family names in the little tiny towns of Jevi and Pardicchio, little mountain towns near the Adriatic Sea. And they found the family names. It's kind of cool. And the old houses. And I said, do we own that? And he looked at it and says, no, we probably used to say. So Italian, when they say ciao, it means I'm a slave.
Really?
Yeah, I'm like, I gotta have to look up, because that's what I read.
Ciao was like
goodbye. Yeah, I was like, I'm your slave. I'm like, okay then, I gotta look that up and see if that's
I'm not gonna, no, yeah.
Because if that's the case, I knew I was not rich.
Well, the funny thing is when we get over to Kentucky, the setting is farmland again.
Oh yeah.
The setting is rural again, and I'm like, okay. I said, now we need to go to California and see if there's so we were laughing and joking because we were like, well, they started out here in Kentucky, and then we started going, and they loaded up the truck and they moved to San Jose,
So
I don't know why, how they wound up from in California. I think she did find a few connections but anyway, they were in California, but somehow they wound up in Kentucky, and then they went back to California, and anyway, it's just interesting, but
well.
I mean, I don't even want to. I mean, my cousin and I, she's helping me trace my roots and everything and stuff, but and my roots are a little bit different. I mean, definitely different than Bubba's and stuff, but it's just interesting to.
My cousin did it for all of us because her parents, well, her mom was my sister, was my mom's sister, and her father was my father's brother. So what she did it for all of us, and that's kind of cool.
And you do have to be careful because you don't know what you're gonna find when you start digging.
Oh, I know. But we found a lot of interesting. She found a lot of interesting things, and when they came over and everything was kind of cool through Ellis Island.
But even if you trace back and you find.
Did you bring that back with your trip?
Mm-hmm. I think it was the Kentucky bluegrass didn't agree with me. They were cutting hay and stuff.
Oh, geez.
But anyway, even if you find something in your history, it's history, people. Yeah. I mean, you can't. There's nothing you're going to do about it.
Right. You
just go, okay, hey, because I mean, I have heard that Clyde Barrow's in mine because I'm a Barrow. And Clyde Barrow, so hey. So I used to laugh and tell people, I said, I got, so, because this was what I had been told all my life. I haven't traced it back this far, so I cannot claim this, people. I'm just putting this caveat out there, but I'd been told that it was Clyde Barrow and Jesse James.
Wow.
And then my dad was a military, and then he became a postal worker. I said, so don't mess with me. I said, I got Jesse James, Clyde Barrow, a disgruntled, I got a postal worker in the military.
And somebody who go postal.
There is no, don't mess
with her.
So yeah. But even if I do find his Clyde, I mean, their actions don't make your actions.
Well, the thing is, that is how they made a living. They might have been very nice people who might have wanted to be friends with them. Who's to say?
Well, yeah, because none of us know what we would do back in the day. I mean, you would hope that but I mean, those days were. So I mean, I would hope that I wouldn't go machine gunning people down.
my maternal grandfather was a cooper, and he made barrels. Well, then they had you abolitionists and all of it. You couldn't drink wine. Hello. So why are you transporting barrels?
Somebody might want to put something in a barrel.
That's right. You could put vinegar in it too.
And they used to use the bodies, I understand. And I know we're having to wind it down, folks, but I understand that they used to transport, like if people died on ships, sometimes they would put them back in the barrels and like pickle them, I guess, until they can get them back over here and bury them or something if it was somebody they wanted to save. Otherwise, they would throw them overboard.
And you're gone.
And then you're gone. But anyway, I thought it was an interesting
Very good trip. Good. Nice conversation.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to wind it down and seek it. If you get interested, seek out your family. You never know where it may lead you.
Mm-hmm. Good, bad, ugly, fine. They might have been angels.
All right. See you later.